What's the creepiest or most disturbing fact you know about the human body? If a pregnant woman dies, gases that build up in her body during decomposition can sometimes force the fetus out. This rare phenomenon is known as a post-mortem fetal extrusion, sometimes called a coffin birth. Because of this, archaeologists can occasionally misinterpret ancient burials, assuming that a woman died during childbirth when the fetus may actually have been expelled after her death. One of the first structures to develop in a human embryo eventually forms the anus, so technically at one point in your development, you were basically just an anus. Some people can experience an orgasm using nothing but their thoughts. This is sometimes called a mental orgasm. They can reach orgasm through a combination of breathing, vocalization, and imagination without any physical stimulation. The anus can supposedly stretch up to about 14 centimeters without serious injury, while a raccoon can squeeze through an opening just 6 to 7 centimeters wide. So, theoretically, you could fit 2 raccoons in your ass and still have room for a Jolly Rancher. Technically, tiny particles of human feces are pretty much everywhere. One time, Mythbusters ran an experiment to find out whether keeping your toothbrush inside a cabinet would protect it from fecal contamination. They even placed control toothbrushes in other rooms, where they assumed there was no way they could be exposed. But when the results came back, every single toothbrush tested positive. So, basically, there's nowhere to run. There's no escape. You can actually vomit your own feces. Yeah, I could vomit yours too. This is the first time in my life I've ever regretted knowing how to read. Guys, that seam running down your scrotum is basically where a vaginal opening would have developed if you hadn't developed along the male pathway. During sexual development in the womb, the tissue in that area fuses together, leaving behind that visible seam. Vaginal lubrication is mostly produced from fluid derived from blood plasma, which passes through the vaginal walls during arousal as blood flow to the area increases. No wonder I've always thought of myself as a vampire. Ahoy, Captain Redbeard. The external anal sphincter can actually tell the difference and selectively let gas pass while holding back solid waste, assuming everything is working properly. The real problem starts when liquids enter the equation. Humans have the largest penis to body size ratio of any primate. For reference, technically speaking, King Kong could have hooked up with that woman he carried up the Empire State Building. If his body were proportionally accurate, an ape his size would have had a penis around 10 inches or 25 centimeters long. The average gorilla penis is about 2.4 inches or 6 centimeters, and King Kong is roughly 25 feet or 7.5 meters tall, about 4 times taller than an average Western gorilla. I rounded the numbers a little, but you get the point. When you're riding a roller coaster and it feels like your organs are moving around inside you, just know that they actually are moving. Your organs can shift slightly as your body accelerates and changes direction, though they're held in place by connective tissues and other internal structures, not just your rib cage. But do your organs move up or down? And where is there even enough room inside your body for them to move around? If an erection lasts for several hours, the trapped blood can begin to clot, reducing the amount of oxygen reaching the tissue. This can lead to ischemia and potentially damage the penile tissue. If the erection continues for too long, especially beyond 24 hours, the risk of permanent erectile dysfunction increases dramatically. If you sprinkle sugar on a prolapsed rectum, it can actually pull itself back inside. According to the University of Michigan Health System, if you can't get a prolapsed rectum to go back in, sprinkle it with granulated sugar, wait about 15 minutes, and then try again. The sugar draws out the excess water, causing the tissue to shrink, and it has to be actual granulated sugar. Artificial sweetener won't work. I'm honestly shocked that this is actually a real thing. Girls, try this on your boyfriends. Touch the inside of his left thigh, and you'll see his left testicle rise. Then do the same on the right side, and his right testicle will rise. Touch both sides, and both will move up. It's honestly so funny. I discovered this completely by accident. From what I understand, it's a reflex. Basically, a protective mechanism for the testicles. Edit. Apparently, if you try doing it to yourself, it might not work. It's kind of like tickling yourself. It works better when someone else does it. The foreskin isn't just a piece of skin. On the inside, it has a specialized mucous membrane, similar to the lining on the inside of your cheek. And near the tip, there's a dense concentration of nerve endings, making it one of the most sensitive parts of the penis. Sperm is produced in the testicles, and sperm production works best at a temperature slightly lower than the body's core temperature. That's why the testicles are located in the scrotum, outside the body. There's a medical exam where a doctor squeezes the head of the penis while placing a finger in the rectum. If the anal sphincter contracts in response, it means that particular reflex pathway is still functioning. This is known as the bulbocavernosus reflex, and it can sometimes be used during a neurological examination to help assess spinal cord function after an injury. The most messed up fact I know is that when you get a kidney transplant, doctors usually don't remove your old kidneys. Unless there's a medical reason to take them out, they just stay inside your body. There's even a guy in the Netherlands who reportedly holds the world record for having the most kidneys in his body. At this point, he has 7 kidneys. It's not exactly the most mind-blowing fact, but still, the hair on your head isn't the only hair that turns gray. I don't know why, but I honestly never expected that to happen. I'm 30, and it never even crossed my mind that my pubic hair would eventually turn gray too. For some reason, that realization hit me way harder than it probably should have. Around 57% of all workdays lost in the UK are reportedly linked to depression, anxiety, or work-related stress. Employee absences for these reasons are estimated to cost employers billions of pounds every year. In the US, around 83% of workers report experiencing work-related stress, costing American businesses hundreds of billions of dollars in lost productivity. Some of the most commonly cited causes include a toxic work environment, excessive workloads, lack of support, limited opportunities for career growth, low pay, and employers failing to respect their employees' work-life balance. There are a lot of really good articles about this. Intrusive thoughts are actually very common, and almost everyone experiences them from time to time. When intrusive thoughts become persistent, cause significant distress, or interfere with your daily life, they can sometimes be associated with OCD. But simply having an intrusive thought doesn't mean you actually want to do whatever popped into your head. For example, you might be standing on a train platform and suddenly think, I could jump in front of that train. That thought by itself doesn't necessarily mean you want to die. Your brain can spontaneously generate disturbing possibilities when you're faced with potential danger. And because these thoughts can appear so quickly, they may feel almost like an impulse, even when you have absolutely no intention of acting on them. In a strange way, your brain is constantly evaluating risks and imagining possible outcomes. Being able to recognize dangerous scenarios can help you pay attention to your surroundings and avoid them. Intrusive thoughts can be especially distressing for new parents, and unfortunately, many people are afraid to talk about them because they worry they'll be judged. A parent might suddenly imagine something terrible happening to their baby, or even picture themselves causing it, and immediately think, what kind of monster would even have a thought like that? But having an unwanted thought is not the same thing as wanting it to happen. Sometimes it's simply your brain throwing a horrifying possibility at you and essentially screaming, "Danger, pay attention to what you're doing." The problem is that it can happen so quickly and feel so vivid that you might mistake the thought for an actual urge. So guys, if you're disturbed by thoughts that randomly pop into your head, read about intrusive thoughts and strategies for dealing with them. And if they're causing you severe distress or interfering with your life, consider talking to a doctor or mental health professional. Conditions like OCD can involve intrusive thoughts, and professional support can help. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. If you have any thoughts about what happened, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.